Hello guys, welcome back. We're going to start adding a bit more complexity to our basic cube that we had in the last video. So what we're going to do is we're going to look to see if we can make this into a chair. It could be a table, it could be a bunch of different things, but if we go with a chair, so we can tailor the parameters that were previously created to start making this a bit more chair-like. So if we imagine that this is going to be the base part of the chair, we'll make the height 50 mil and we'll make the length and the width 500, and that gives us a basic square which will form the base. What we need to do now is add in a reference plane that's going to be the base of our legs. So go back to create, reference plane, create one in there, and as before we'll label these, and the more we start adding these in, the more this is crucial to keep on top of that. And we'll dimension down from there, and as before we'll go up to label and we'll call this base of legs. And what this will enable us to do is that we can, when we add the geometry in for the legs, we can control the height of them. Again, we'll leave it as type for the time being, and you can see that's added in there. As before, give it a flex, make sure that the geometry, the reference plane's all working. And then what we'll do is we're going to set the working plane. So if you go to create, go to set work plane, and this is where it really starts paying dividends for adding the name of the reference plane. So we'll go and set that to specify new work plane, name, base of legs, okay. And then this asks you what view you want it to be in. So if we're going to go floor plan, reference plane, so it's in a plan view, we're looking down, we see the base of our chair, and we can start adding in some extra reference planes which are going to be for the inset of the legs themselves from the base. So if we add them in as we did before, again like that, and we're going to add another dimension in which is going to control how far in these are from the base. So if you dimension up from there, from the reference plane we had before, and we're just going to chuck some dimensions in at the moment. Again, don't worry too much about the dimension at the moment. So we'll add those at the moment. We'll click, or if you hold down control, you can select multiple dimensions, up to label, and we'll call leg inset. There we go. So we've got a bunch of dimensions there now. Sometimes it gets a little bit messy with the text where it is, which you can control. Actually, as another side note here, you can change the scale of it, the thing, and you can see sometimes that can make things a little bit more legible as you're working. And if we just try flexing those a little bit, we'll make them 75, and you'll see that'll move those lines in there so we can control how far they are from the perimeter. Now we've got those in there, we're going to add in, we're going to make our legs tubular, and we'll snap it to there. If you click on that bit where they intersect, a pink crosshair should come up. So we can add in some legs like so. Just get them, we'll just add them in like that. And we'll tick them. We'll go back and add a reference plane later on, which could control the diameter of the legs, so you could control that as a parameter as well. But we'll just put them in like that for the time being and tick that. If we go back to, this can be done in a 3D view or a elevation view, and we see the legs there like that. Oh, they're floating below our base at the moment. So if we go into an elevation view, same as before, when you click the geometry, the 3D geometry, it comes up with these shape handles, and you can bring it up there, snap it, and lock it. And then as we control the height of our legs, you'll see it brings it up from the base, so we can have that extra functionality there. And you can see it's a stool now at the moment, so we could add a back piece to it. to make it into a full chair. So I think what I'll do is next, yeah, I'll add a back piece in it. And there's multiple ways you could do this. So if you were going straight up, so it was imagine a completely straight back, you could add it on a plan view. But what I'm going to do to make it a little bit more chair-like and a bit more, show you something a bit different. If I go to a left-hand view here, and we're going to imagine that the back's a little bit sloped, as they typically are. So we're going to do another extrusion again, and we'll slope it back like so. Bring it down like that, like that, like that. And we can bring in a reference plane, which is there. We'll call that height of back support. A little bit more technical. And we can bring that up there like that. Snap that there. And we'll add a dimension in there like that. Click the dimension, and of course we haven't added the parameter in yet. We've named the plane. So if we go back in, call this height of back support. Tick that, and you can see there again, parameter's been added on there. We can do a little check on that. It will appear in this list. Let's keep everything simple, 500, and you'll see that's moving the back piece down with there. I mean, you could get a little bit more technical and start adding an angle in there so you can control that, but for the time being we'll keep it like that. Now if you tick that and we go to a 3D view, so we've added that in, but obviously it's not going the full width of the chair. It looks almost some modern art piece at the moment, but we want to make it a little bit more conventional. So we click the shape handle and we bring it across, and as you'll see that will snap there, and it always come up with a lock symbol. And then we've got a chair like so. We have a bunch of parameters that we can have a little bit of a play around with. Height of back support, let's make it a little bit higher. And you notice it's bringing the angle in. We can make the legs inset a bit more. So we make that 100. And you see they'll come in like that. And yeah, it's starting to look like a chair. And this could be a table. It could be a bunch of different bits and pieces. What we'll do also on this one, we'll just add in we'll start looking at adding some materials into it. So down the bottom here, you've got your different model display types. So if you've got it on a textures or realistic, depending on what type of material you're using. So if we click on one piece of geometry, you'll see in the properties that will come up materials and finishes by category. What we'll do is hit this little box on the right hand side there, and we'll just call back color, like so. Hit OK, and then we're going to do one for leg color and one for seat color. So we've got the 3 different elements set up there, and then when we go up to our properties up here, just not save it for the time being, you see under materials and finishes, those 3 different pieces of geometry have now got a materials and finish by category up there. So what we can do is, if we hit on that, we can, unfortunately there's not some great ones set up in here, but if we go to create new material and we rename that, make that red, create new material, rename that, make that blue, and finally create new material, rename yellow. This could be a garish chair. I'll do a series a bit more on colours later on, but we'll just create some very basic ones, just using some predefined colours in the thing. So we've got the red, we've got the yellow, and what do we do? Yes, blue. Select blue. So what we'll do is there, we've got a blue, make one element a red, one element a yellow, apply, and you'll see if we select it onto the right view display, and this is a good point here actually. So you can add a texture in there which will be something a bit more photorealistic, but what we want is the realistic one like that, and that will correspond to the colors that we created in the materials. And you can see the three different colors, and you can go in there, you could alter them, create some different ones, even use some of these predefined ones on here, make that one glass, and then we'll make this one blue, and then everything will swap brown like so, and you see the transparency on the legs there. So I think we'll finish that video today. You start to see how this is building up into something that can be more complex and how the parameters work. I think the next one will be start looking at, we'll put some constraints onto the legs and start adding some void extrusions into it. Thanks everyone, bye.